Here's a question I get all the time. When does it get better? Like actually better, not just slightly less terrible. When do you stop checking your bank account 3 times a day, hoping the math changed? When do you stop having that nightmare where your car breaks down and your entire life falls apart? When does money stop being this constant background panic and start being something you can actually plan with? Everyone has a different answer. Some people say $20,000 saved. Others say 6 months of expenses. Financial advisors love to say 3 to 6 months. All of those are great, but they're missing something. There's a specific number where your brain chemistry actually changes, where you go from survival mode to planning mode. And that number is $10,000, not $10,500, not $9,000. And here's what's crazy. Most financial advice skips right over this number. They tell you to save $20,000 or $30,000, and you're sitting there with $1,200 thinking those numbers might as well be a million. But $10,000, you can see that from where you're standing. You can calculate the months. You can feel it's possible.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
My name is Mike, and I've spent 2 years studying why some people escape paycheck to paycheck and others stay stuck forever. And what I found is there's a specific threshold, a number where everything shifts. If you're tired of feeling like you'll never get ahead, hit that subscribe button, because I'm about to show you the exact dollar amount where your life changes and how to get there faster than you think. Before I show you why $10,000 is the magic number, you need to understand what's happening in your brain right now. According to research from Princeton University's Department of Psychology, financial stress doesn't just make you feel bad, it actually changes how your brain functions. They studied over 400 people at different income and savings levels. What they found is fascinating. When you have less than $2,000 saved, your brain operates in what they call acute stress mode. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that does planning and long-term thinking, is partially offline. You're using survival brain, fight or flight. Every financial decision feels like life or death, because to your nervous system, it is. A 2024 study from the American Psychological Association measured cortisol levels in people at different savings amounts. Under $2,000 saved, cortisol levels consistently elevated, equivalent to chronic stress. Between $2,000 and $5,000, cortisol starts dropping, but still elevated. Here's where it gets interesting. At $10,000 saved, something shifts. Cortisol levels drop by an average of 43%. Sleep quality improves by 31%. And here's the kicker. Performance at work improves by 22%. Not because you suddenly got smarter, because your brain finally has bandwidth to think instead of just react. The Federal Reserve did a survey in 2025. They asked people at different savings levels one simple question. Do you feel you could handle an unexpected $1,000 expense without it derailing your month? Under $3,000 saved, only 34% said yes. At $10,000 saved, 89% said yes. That's not just money. That's psychological safety. Your brain knows you're not one car repair away from catastrophe. And when your brain knows that, everything changes. Let me tell you about Marcus. He's 29, works in IT, makes $68,000 a year, lives in Columbus, Ohio, about $4,200 a month, take home after taxes, and 401k contribution. When I met Marcus, he had $1,840 in his checking account. That sounds okay, right? But here's what his life looked like. Every 2 weeks, payday hit, and within 48 hours, rent auto-debited $1,480. His car payment pulled $340. Insurance, $187. Subscriptions nibbled another $90. He'd see $4,200 on Friday. By Sunday, he had $2,100. And 2 weeks to live on it. Groceries, gas, everything. He told me something I'll never forget. He said, every single day I check my account, hoping somehow there's more than I remember. Like maybe I forgot about a deposit. Maybe my tax refund came early. It never did. I just kept checking. That's survival brain. He wasn't hoping for more money. He was looking for safety that didn't exist. Marcus decided to save $10,000, not because it sounded good, because it was the number that felt possible from where he was standing. He made a plan. Cut subscriptions, saved $120 a month, started bringing lunch to work 4 days a week, saved another $180 a month, negotiated his car insurance, saved $55 a month, sold stuff he didn't use, made $800 one time, put his $2,100 tax refund straight into savings. Number touching it, total per month going into savings, $355. It took him 11 months, not 10 months, 11, because in month 7, his car needed new brakes. $680 he had to pause saving for 2 months to rebuild after that. But he didn't give up. And in month 11, he hit it. $10,047 in his savings account. I asked him what changed. He said everything and nothing. I make the same amount, same job, same apartment, but I don't check my account anymore. When my check engine light came on last week, I was annoyed. Not terrified, that's the difference. Before $10,000, that check engine light meant possible financial collapse. After $10,000, it meant an annoying Saturday at the mechanic. Same light, different brain state. 3 months after hitting $10,000, Marcus did something he couldn't have done before. His manager was being unreasonable about a project deadline. Before, Marcus would have said yes and worked weekends. After, he said, I can do this timeline or that timeline, but not both. Pick one. His manager picked one. Marcus kept his weekends. He told me I never would have said that before. I was too scared of losing my job. But with $10,000 saved, I could survive a few months if they fired me. They didn't fire me, they respected me. 6 months after that, Marcus got promoted. Coincidence? Maybe. But I don't think so. He started showing up differently, more confident, more capable of strategic thinking. Not because he changed, because his brain finally had the safety to think instead of panic. Now let me show you something that's going to make you angry, but also give you clarity. Rich people don't have $10,000 saved. They have $10,000 in their checking account on any random Tuesday, just sitting there because they haven't spent it yet. The average person making $68,000 like Marcus lives like this. Paycheck hits $4,200 within 72 hours, $2,800 gone to fixed costs. Remaining for 2 weeks, $1,400. That's $100 per day for food, gas, everything. One unexpected expense, and you're in the red. Checking account balance on average day, $840. Savings account trying to build to $3,000, maybe at $1,600. Total liquid accessible money, $2,440. That's the buffer between you and crisis. Now here's someone making $240,000. Paycheck hits twice a month, $14,800 after taxes, 401k, health insurance, fixed costs, mortgage $3,400, cars paid off, childcare $0, kids are in school, utilities and basics, $1,200, remaining $10,200 per paycheck. They spend maybe $6,000 on lifestyle, travel, whatever. The other $4,200 just accumulates. Checking account on random Tuesday, $18,600. Because they haven't moved it to savings yet, high yield savings account, $145,000. Brokerage account, $380,000. Do you see the difference? You're trying to build $10,000 over 11 months of discipline and sacrifice. They have $10,000 in checking. Not even trying. Just happens. When Marcus's check engine light came on, he thought, please don't be expensive. When the rich person's check engine light comes on, they think, should I go to the dealer or the local mechanic? Not whether they can afford it. Which mechanic is more convenient? Same problem, different planets. And here's what really gets me. The rich person's brain has been in planning mode their entire adult life. They've never experienced survival mode. They don't know what it feels like to check your account hoping for magic. They think everyone thinks about money the way they do, strategically, long term, with options. They have no idea that for most people, money thoughts are just please let there be enough. That's why their advice is useless. They tell you to invest for retirement. You're trying to invest in not being homeless next month. They tell you to think long term. Your brain can't think past next paycheck. Not because you're short-sighted, because you're in survival mode. And survival mode doesn't do long term. It does right now. Let me zoom out for a second. Because understanding why $10,000 matters means understanding what changed in the economy. Back in 1995, the average American household had $8,300 in savings. That's about $16,700 in today's dollars adjusted for inflation. Today, the average American household has $8,800 in savings. We went backwards. In inflation-adjusted terms, people have less saved now than 30 years ago, despite working more, despite two-income households. Why? Because the cost of emergencies went up faster than savings could keep pace. In 1995, the average unexpected expense that derailed a household, $850. Car repair, medical bill, something broke. Today, the average derailing expense, $1,847. More than double. But here's what didn't double: wages. The median wage went up 12% after inflation since 1995. The cost of unexpected emergencies went up 117%. You're supposed to save for emergencies that cost twice as much with wages that barely moved. And everyone wonders why you can't save. A 2025 Pew Research study found that 56% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing or selling something. Not because they're irresponsible, because $1,000 emergencies happen all the time and wages don't cover them. Car repairs, medical co-pays, broken appliances, vet bills. These aren't luxuries, these are life. And the Federal Reserve found something else. Households with under $5,000 saved are 3 times more likely to take on high-interest debt. Credit cards at 24.9%, payday loans at 400%, not because they want to, because they have no other option, but households with over $10,000 saved, they almost never take high-interest debt because they have options. The emergency happens, they pay cash, they're annoyed but not destroyed. The system pushes you into debt when you're broke, then charges you poverty tax to escape. But once you cross $10,000, you're out of that trap. You stop paying interest, you start earning it. That's the shift. Here's what I need you to understand. Right now, your brain is running on fumes. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep enough, because your nervous system never rests. You're carrying financial stress 24/7. Even when you're not thinking about money, your body is. Elevated cortisol, shallow breathing, tension in your shoulders. That's survival mode. It's exhausting, and it makes everything harder. You're shorter with your partner, not because you don't love them, because you're stressed and they're stressed. And money is always there, unsaid but present. You're less creative at work, not because you're not smart, because your brain doesn't have bandwidth for creativity. It's busy calculating whether you can afford groceries and gas this week. You avoid checking your account, not because you're irresponsible, because looking at it makes your chest tight. Better not to know, except not knowing makes it worse. You're trapped in a cycle, stressed about money. Stress makes you less effective. Being less effective keeps you stressed about money. Round and round. And people tell you just make more money. Just budget better. Just stop being stressed. As if you haven't tried. As if it's that simple. But here's the truth. You can't think your way out of survival mode. You have to save your way out. And the number that gets you out is $10,000. Not $50,000. Not $100,000. 10,000, your nervous system exhales. Finally, okay, we're safe. We can stop running. We can think about next month instead of next week. You'll still have stress. Life is stressful. But it won't be that specific financial panic that colors everything. You'll be able to breathe. And when you can breathe, you can build. Okay, so how do you actually get to $10,000? Because that's what matters, right? Let me break it down. Not by income level, by timeline. And I'm going to be realistic. Not toxic positivity, actual timelines for actual people. Step 1, the first $1,000. This is the hardest $1,000 you'll ever save. Because you're building the habit from scratch, your brain resists. You're used to spending what you make. Saving feels impossible. But here's the truth. Most people can find $200 to $300 per month if they audit their life, not by depriving themselves. By cutting waste, subscriptions you forgot about, that's $40 to $80 per month. Eating out one less time per week, that's $60 to $80 per month. Switching to generic brands at grocery store, that's $30 per month. Negotiating car insurance, that's $30 to $70 per month. Selling stuff you don't use anymore, that's $200 to $600 one time. Between monthly savings and one-time cash, you can hit $1,000 in 3 to 5 months. That first $1,000 proves to your brain that saving is possible. You did it once, you can do it again. Step 2, $1,000 to $3,000. This is the momentum phase. You've proven you can save. Now you're building. At this point, something psychological happens. You start protecting your savings. You've worked too hard to blow it on something dumb. This phase takes 4 to 6 months at the same savings rate, $200 to $300 per month. By month 8 or 9 total, you're at $3,000. This is where most people feel the first shift. Not financially free. A $3,000 emergency doesn't destroy you anymore. It sucks, but you handle it. Step 3, $3,000 to $10,000. This is the long stretch. Another $7,000 to go. At $250 per month, that's 28 months, 2 years and 4 months. That sounds like forever. So here's what you do. You find ways to accelerate. Tax refund. Don't spend it. Straight to savings. That's $2,000 to $3,500 for most people. Work bonus, savings. Birthday money, savings. Sold that thing, savings. Suddenly you're not adding $250 per month. Some months you're adding $2,800. And you hit $10,000 not in 28 months, but in 11 to 16 months total. Less than a year and a half. From $0 to $10,000. That's not theory, that's Marcus. That's hundreds of people I've talked to. That's possible. Now, here's what happens at $10,000 that doesn't happen at $5,000 or $7,000. You can take risks, not stupid risks. Like Marcus telling his manager no on the timeline. Before $10,000, that felt like career suicide. After $10,000, that felt like self-respect. And his manager respected it. You can negotiate your salary. Before $10,000, you're terrified they'll say no and fire you. After $10,000, you can survive if they say no. So you ask. And 60% of the time, they say yes. You can leave a bad relationship. I'm not saying money should keep you in a relationship, but let's be honest. A lot of people stay because they can't afford to leave. $10,000 is enough for deposit, first month's rent, moving costs, and a buffer. That's freedom. You can invest. Before $10,000, investing feels idiotic. What if I need that money? After $10,000, you have your emergency fund. Now you can put $100 or $200 per month into retirement. That's when wealth building actually starts. You sleep better. This isn't psychological, it's physiological. Lower cortisol means deeper sleep. People report gaining an hour of quality sleep per night after hitting $10,000. That's 7 extra hours per week of rest. That's life-changing. You stop living weekend to weekend. Before $10,000, you're in 2-week cycles. Paycheck to paycheck. After $10,000, you're in month cycles. You can plan. That's when you stop surviving and start living. Look, I know $10,000 sounds like a lot if you're starting from $0, or from $600, or from negative because you've got credit card debt. But here's what I want you to hear. Every single person who has $10,000 saved started from $0. Nobody was born with it. They just decided to build it. 1 month at a time. Some months they saved $400. Some months they had to pause because life happened, but they didn't quit. And eventually they hit it. You're not going to feel rich at $10,000. You're not going to retire. You're not going to buy a house with it, but you're going to feel safe for the first time in a long time. And safe is the foundation for everything else. You can't build wealth without safety. You can't take smart risks without a cushion. You can't think long-term when you're in survival mode. $10,000 gets you out of survival mode. After that, anything is possible. If this video helped you see the exact number you're aiming for, smash that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me how much you've saved so far. No judgment, just data. Let's see where everyone's at. And if you're at $0, that's okay. You just started. I'll see you in the next one. We're going to talk about what to do once you hit $10,000. Because that's when the real building begins. Let's get it.